On the construction site, the construction workers are still diligently working. Behind them are high-rise buildings bathed in the rosy light of the setting sun, which contrasts beautifully with their tired, hard-working faces. Baek Ji-soo is working with great concentration when his phone rings. He has to set aside his grueling work, pick up the phone and answer it, wiping away the sweat pouring down his face. On the other end of the line is someone reprimanding him. Baek-soo, why aren't you answering the phone? The young man, flustered, tries to explain. It's too noisy here. I couldn't hear it. What's going on? The person on the other end, clicking a pin, casually replies, What's the matter? You only contact your younger brother when there's something urgent. It's been a while since I've seen his face. The caller speaks with the style of a CEO, accompanied by many secretaries and bodyguards. Baek Ji-soo declines. I'm a bit busy today. What could be so urgent? A worker behind Baek Ji-soo shouts, Hey, what's going on over there? Everyone's uncomfortable. Don't crowd like that. Baek-soo looks toward the indicated area, where many soldier corpses are scattered among the rubble. If not dealt with, they would float up later. The older brother continues on the phone. All right then, can you come later? Baek-soo hesitates, but replies, I'll come later, I understand now. After hanging up, Baek-soo approaches a soldier who has been punched. The soldier's eyes are swollen, his mouth is crooked, and there are wounds on his chest bleeding profusely. It's nothing. It's not deep, he says. Baek-soo calmly takes off his outer jacket and says, Then stop the bleeding, handing his jacket to his teammate. You are from the Hate Special Operations Team. The leader of the Northern Task Force, Baek-soo, has been deeply involved in Busan, with 4 years of experience and 12 infiltrations into the north. The other person is on one side, gritting his teeth and estimates it will take about 10s. He can endure around 30s. The team leader encourages his men hang in there. Enraged, the opponent swings a knife and shouts, Damn brats. Baek-soo quickly dodges the attack and without hesitation delivers a powerful punch that knocks the opponent backward, causing him to bleed profusely. The opponent, furious, doesn't have time to recover before Baek-soo lands another punch, sending him crashing down without any semblance of dignity. Baek-soo then feels satisfied, wiping the blood from his hands with a cloth. Someone else instructs to treat the new soldier and clean up the area. Baek-soo calmly puts on his jacket and turns to his colleague, saying, I have an appointment, so I'll leave now. The subordinate responds, Yes, we understand. Baek-soo's men clear John Chan's body onto a wheelbarrow, which carries construction materials. One of his subordinates comments, What are we supposed to say we're doing with him? The responses just say we're working on the construction site. Baek Ji-soo slowly leaves the construction site under the poetic golden light of the setting sun and walks to his appointment with his brother. A polite server says, Sir, please stop. The restaurant is fully booked for outsiders today. You can't enter. Baek-soo explains, I have an appointment with my brother here. However, the waiter still won't let him through, gently smiling and saying, I'm sorry, but you need to dress formally to enter. Can you go back, dress appropriately, and come back soon? After, the handsome, cold-hearted billionaire older brother arrived to rescue Baek Ji-soo. He stood proudly and waved at him. What's this kid doing here? Didn't you say you had an appointment with me? He then went over and gave his younger brother a heartfelt hug, making Baek-soo grunt in surprise. The older brother addressed the server. This is my younger brother. What's going on? There shouldn't be any problems, right? Seeing the imposing presence of the older brother, the server could only repeatedly bow and apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were a guest of Director Baek. After that, Baek-soo didn't say much and went directly inside. His older brother watched him from behind. On Baek Ji-soo's jacket was written Number 1 Safety. The older brother then turned to the server sarcastically saying, Number 1, Safety. That's quite a name. The server, feeling the pressure, could only bow his head. Back at the construction site, the workers were drinking and chatting loudly. One gray-haired worker, who was now quite drunk, shouted, What's going on? Why are we being treated like this? He was fuming. After 3 months, we only get frozen pork belly. Others continued to eat and drink heartily. The manager said to wait. He's probably buying something nice for us. One worker enjoying grilled meat and rice commented it tastes good. It's been a while since we had meat. Eat up with meat. You should drink less. The gray-haired man standing up reached for a beer bottle on the table and struggled to open it. His face was flushed and he kept rambling. I should have followed the team leader. That place is expensive, so it must be good. His words were quite boastful. Another. The worker sitting opposite reminded him. The manager is coming. Sickle's shiny black luxury cars stopped not far from their table. A man stepped out of one of the cars. The brown-haired worker, focused on eating grilled meat, suddenly stood up, raised his hand in a salute, and said loudly, "Loyalty." The manager has arrived. The other workers, including the gray-haired man and the black-haired, square-faced man, also stood and followed suit. "Yes, the manager has arrived," they echoed. The manager, who appeared to be middle-aged, stepped forward hesitantly. "I'm sorry the project has ended, but I kept you all here because there was something to discuss." "But I don't see team leader Beck," the black-haired man holding a drink replied. "The team leader is absent due to personal reasons." The gray-haired man next to him seemed indifferent, finishing off a bottle of brown liquor. The manager began rummaging in his jacket pocket for something. "Things are going to get complicated," he said. The brown-haired worker turned to him seriously and asked, "What's going on?" Suddenly, a stream of blood spurted from his forehead, and he fell backward, unresponsive. On the other side, a man with a gun had his weapon pointed straight at the worker's forehead, his face showing a dictatorial and deadly dangerous expression. The teammates, now sobering up from their drunken state, realized that the brown-haired worker had been shot dead. The blood on his forehead was still fresh. A cold, chilling voice declared, "I hereby dissolve the Special Forces team." The Special Forces soldiers already in protective gear and armed with AK rifles were focused and prepared. They moved toward the scene with their large guns ready for action. The remaining comrades, terrified, had pale faces and wide, hollow eyes, their mouths agape. They seemed to have lost their composure, overwhelmed by the formidable presence of the Special Forces. The manager, holding his pistol, now only had a sinister, scheming look on his face. He spoke in a growling tone, as if about to begin a hunting battle. "Everyone has worked hard on the other side." The scene in the restaurant remained very tranquil. Delicious dishes like salad and finely arranged beef steak were set on the table, along with a bottle of red wine chilled with dry ice. Baek Ji-soo's older brother spoke up. "Baek Ji-soo, here, take this." The man pulled out a business card and, in his slightly tipsy state, asked, "How's work at my company?" He placed the business card on the table, slowly pushing it towards Baek Ji-soo. "Why join the #1 safety company?" The business card displayed the company of Director Beck, abbreviated as TFF. Baek Soo did not immediately take the card, but replied casually. People's Aid Director Beck then asked, "So recently, soldiers have to do manual labor for People's Aid." The older brother, grumbling, poured more wine into his glass and complained, "I'm in business and my younger brother is stuck with a low-paying job. I don't like it much. The work isn't difficult, you just need to manage a few restaurants." Noticing Baek Soo seemed distracted, he added, "Hey, #1 safety, are you listening?" Baek Soo responded indifferently, "Let's talk later." Suddenly, only a ringtone sounded from his pocket, an incoming call. Baek Soo took out his phone and saw an unknown number. Calmly, he said, "Hold on a moment. I'm taking this call from Director Baek."